ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम राम
राम
हरे हरे।
हरे
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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे हरे
हरे हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्णा। आज के so today we will start with this short story, and then we will continue our discussion that we had in the interim we had stopped on Bhagavad Gita. So we'll proceed on our discussion with Bhagavad Gita. So a short, I uh, everyone, in our last discussion, if you remember, I want to ask, like, how many of you remember, like, okay, what we discussed about in our last time? Do you remember the topic like that we discussed? What was the topic of the discussion? Lokoman Krishna Prabhu went to collect his notes, and Amrita Sakha Prabhu is trying to check for what was it. Okay, so we discussed about,
Prabhu, you were showing some slides, Prabhu, about the
yeah, what was the
uh,
topic? The
mm,
topic was, yes, Lokoman Krishna Prabhu, you want to say?
need for spirituality.
Yes, the need for spirituality. And then we talked about why we become very unstable in different points of our life because of the various identities that we associate with. How do we remain steady during that time? We talked about it because our eternal identity is spirit soul. And what is our duty to what is our duty as a spirit soul? We have to nourish that soul by by following, by coming in good association, by reading books, by chanting, by taking diet, that is prasad, sanctified food. So I'm just trying to cover the essence. We talked about few examples also at that time, but one of the things when we were discussing, one of the things that multiple of many of you told at that time was like, okay, we want to get ourselves free from the problems, right? We want to get liberated. Do I remember it right? Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to start with short a short example in that context. So when it comes to liberation, there are two types of liberation. One is a negative liberation and one is a positive liberation. Okay, what is a negative liberation? Let's try to understand with an analogy. So if there is a prisoner in the palace of a king or with the government, and that prisoner wants to get freed up, let's say if he breaks the jail and if he starts running or fleeing from there, then what will happen? Eventually, like the police will chase him, right? Or the king's men will chase him, and then he will be caught eventually. And once caught, then he will be action will be taken against that person, right? So the what was the intent of the person? The intent of the person was he wanted to get freed from the problems, right? But they tried to do something wherein okay they got indulged in more and more bigger problems. This is one way. The other way is positive liberation. And what is a positive liberation? So supposing one person gets so the person is still in prison, but the person approaches the king or the government and says that okay, please to them that okay, I understand I have done a serious mistake, and at this point of time, after having realized my mistake, I want to I want to tell that okay, I don't want to do that same mistake again and again, and from now on I will not repeat that same mistake. Please release me so that I can actually live a good life. So the king or the government will hear their plea and they may not release him immediately. But as the person is put into the jail, the king or the government official will inform the jailer there that watch out for this person. He has sent a plea, watch him attentively look at what he is doing. And when he starts behaving nicely, then in that case, slowly he is being favored, right? And when he is being favored, um, he becomes an example in the jail, and people look forward to that person. Okay, what is what is he doing? And when he becomes so much favorable, okay, so when he becomes an example, and the jailer is also observing that there is, and all the reports are constantly going to the king, although the prisoner may not know. But at that time, okay, once the king will say, "Oh, I'm hearing so much about this prisoner. Forget about prisoner. I also need a good servant. Why don't you bring him, transfer him to my kingdom, okay, and he can be a servant." And at one point of time, this person who was once in the jail, he is transferred to the king's palace to become the king's servant. That is the nature of the positive liberation. We can understand from these two analogies. The first one, analogy in which the person is trying to break the jail and try to do things which are not which are not which are breaking the rules of like the jail. That is a example of an ignorant person who in the material world is trying to solve the problems like without knowing what the rules are. Okay, but in the second one example we see that the person goes and pleads, and here the king is the supreme lord Krishna, goes and pleads to the king that I have committed, understanding the fallen nature of this person, like, okay, pleads to Supreme Lord, says that okay, I've done this, I want to come out of this. And Krishna arranges everything for that person. And when that person becomes a good example, continues with that good example, then at one point of time, he becomes eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. And the there are so many examples of this. And Shri Brihad Bhagavatamrit gives the example of Gopakumar. So when we continue with that example, then one fine day, it could be morning, it could be afternoon, we'll find ourselves in the spiritual world. And Gopakumar, Brihad Bhagavat Amrit says that okay, they reach there in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan in the afternoon, and they were, and he actually initially could not find Krishna. He was waiting, 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 and he did not know actually where he is looking. And at one point of time, they see that okay, everyone is looking in one direction, and he also starts looking in that same direction. And then he sees that okay, there are some cows coming, and he first sees some dust that is coming out, and then he sees cows coming, and then he sees the gopas coming, and then he sees Krishna Balram coming. So this is how spiritual world is eventually revealed to a person who is who is constantly, consistently, who perceives, who is persistent in their practices and are following the practices, the spiritual practices as has been given in our scriptures. So it's very simple process actually, simple for the simple and complex for the complex. When we have a simple heart, when we take things in a simple way, then it becomes very simple for us. When we try to take things in a very, very complicated way, then I mean everything looks very complex all around. So why I said this is because it is very important to know what our destination is, how we will go. Our Lokamohan Krishna Prabhu, he said this, and I thought, okay, maybe it's a good example to share this example. And he was saying that, okay, he was sharing that, okay, someone is chanting like this and I am chanting like this. But we have to understand that, okay, we are in the process. We are that prisoner who has pleaded to the Supreme Lord. Please accept me. And then Krishna is making all arrangements. And if we look at our own lives, what we'll see is like, okay, when we came into Krishna consciousness, how complex it was. Okay. And slowly as days are passing, Krishna is making all the arrangements for us. Is giving us opportunity after opportunity for us to take those. And it is up to us to take how much we can take and what we do not take. How much we are able to take the guidance, how much we are not able to take the guidance. It is we'll observe within our own heart. And we have to assess our own self like, where we are at with the journey. So, with that being said, let's go into the pages of Bhagavad Gita, which for some time we went in multiple things, but we had to cover um, some of the fundamentals actually, which was essential at that point of time. So let's come back to this. And Bhagavad Gita, I want to take you back to chapter 2 where we were in. And we are now at verse number 70th from the second chapter. So, so the 70th verse of the second chapter, it reads like this. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kamakami. Translation: a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone perceive peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Anyone wants to read this? Read this translation. You can raise your hand. No one wants to read it. Okay, I can't see if anyone is raising the hand here. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah, Nandini Premadaji, please go ahead.
A person who is not disturbed by the incessant, ins,
Incessant means
ins,
constant flow of desires.
incessant flow of desires that enter like river into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desire.
Hmm. So just let us reflect on this meaning. The meaning of this verse. Meaning of this verse is a man. Let us read this part. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires can alone achieve peace. That means we all have desires, and those desires are constantly coming in. But one who is not disturbed, like okay, who like this desire came, I want to fulfill it. I want to fulfill this desire. I want to fulfill this desire. One who is running to fulfill after every desire, that person cannot achieve peace. Okay, but the person who is steady, although he's getting many desires, okay, who is steady, even though he's getting so many desires, he's steady with that. That person can alone achieve peace. So let us read the purport. How many of you have understood so far? Okay, is it understandable? Okay, so it is a very important purport. Let us understand. See, we should know what Krishna is expecting from us. We may or may not be there, but when we understand what Krishna is giving us, we can at least pray to Krishna that, okay, Krishna, I really want to be like that, whatever is saying. So, purport, anyone wants to read the purport? We can read line by line. Okay. Okay, Lokamon Krishna Prabhu, you can read. Nandini Priya Mataji, I'll come to you. Okay, yes.
Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brings.
Yeah,
This
so
is also, yeah.
I'll just stop here. So, like, okay, when there is a, you may have seen, like, okay, there are sometimes there are some lakes, right? So, if there is a heavy rain, what happens? There'll be flooding there happening. But in case of an ocean, let's say we are talking about Pacific Ocean. Now, it rained there. What will happen? Like, will the ocean be like, okay, there'll be a flood coming from the ocean? No. It is generally like, okay, it is still steady. Okay, it is not affected. Okay, and even if there is a heavy rain that is coming, right, it will not make a huge difference in the ocean because the ocean spreads across hundreds and thousands of miles, so it does not make any difference. So it is not agitated, so it does not cross beyond the limit of its brink. So if you see that is the nature of the ocean. So yes, next line, Lokaman Krishna.
This is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his full because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills of his material necessities.
All his material necessities.
Yeah, because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desire may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities and he is not even slightly disturbed by desire for sense gratification. This is the proof of Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires although the desires are present, because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy the full peace.
Yeah, you can stop here. So I want to um, ask all of you one thing. How many of you have desires?
All.
No, let them speak for themselves. Let them speak for themselves. Yeah, so we all have desires. Yeah. What what I was reading what Srila Prabhupada said in this context. When Srila Prabhupada was giving this lecture, right? He said he said only two lines on this purport. He said, see, the devotee will also have desire and the non-devotee will also have desire. Okay, the only difference is the devotee dovetails his desire in Krishna consciousness. That's it. All his desires are completely aligned with Krishna. Okay, if the devotee is the non-devotee is earning, the devotee is earning. The non-devotee earns so that he can have a good vacation, he can go to the restaurant, he can go for vacation, he can do whatever sense gratificatory activities he wants. But the devotees desires are like, okay, he wants to uh, go on a spiritual vacation. He is also going on a vacation. But he's going on a spiritual trip. The devotee, the non-devotee also buys a nice car. The devotee also buys a nice car. The goal of the devotee is to use that car for Krishna's service. Okay, the non-devotee also buys a nice house, luxurious house. The devotee also buys a luxurious house. The non-devotee buys it for his own sense gratification. The devotee buys it so that he can serve the devotees. So one who is always so here Srila Prabhupada says that both the devotee and the non-devotee get such desires. And the Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Amrita Saga Prabhu, can you read this line once again?
Yeah. So
No,
these are
Amrita,
other.
no. I want Amrita Saga Prabhu to read this. Can you read this line,
The
Prabhu?
devotee, yeah, the devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness.
Yeah, and read the next line.
A Krishna conscious man is not in a need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities.
Can you read it once again?
A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything, but because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities.
Okay, Nandini Priyamataji. So, what is Krishna saying? This part, read this part.
Okay. That's same line,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yes.
Okay. A Krishna conscious person is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities.
Any doubt in this line?
No, no, Prabhuji.
No doubt. No doubt.
See, the thing is, the see the outside person they have desires. Even the devotee has desires. Okay, Kohili Mataji is also there. So, uh, so both have desires. But here Prabhupada is saying the Lord fulfills all material necessities. The person need not be worried. Okay, when Krishna will fulfill, Krishna knows when this person should get, and Krishna will fulfill that. And because of that, that devotee becomes like an ocean, always full in himself, like he's satisfied. I want to give you one example. I was with, I went to the temple last weekend. Okay, so there I met one devotee. I met two devotees actually. So, and both these devotees really gave me so much inspiration. So, one devotee was saying, somehow, like, I just happened to, I have seen this devotee, very senior devotee, but I never happened to talk to uh, this Mataji. She's very aged, and she came to me many times to get a book on Lord Jagannath, which was written by His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. So when Maharaj was here, like, I was distributing that books and I had the books. So this Mataji came to me multiple times, said, "Okay, you have Lord Jagannath book?" I have said, "Yeah, I have that book." And then somehow she did not have any Lakshmi to pay, and I told, you take the book, but you give me Lakshmi later. But she wanted to get the book when she has the Lakshmi. Somehow last weekend she had the Lakshmi, she gave me the Lakshmi, and I said, yeah, I think I have the book in my car. But when I went to the car, the book was not there. Later I learned that my daughter took it and she distributed that book. That was the last copy. So I went and told Mataji that, Mataji, I don't have that book. So she's told me that, okay, no problem. You don't have Jagannath's book? Do you have Balram's book? I said, yeah. Then I'll have Balram's book. And as I was talking to her, I understood that she has served the deities in New Vrindavan. And she went through a very troubled life. In her own personal life, she had very, very highly troubled life. But she was telling a realization that in during the course of my this life, I just knew one thing which Srila Prabhupada had said. That is, just focus your attention on Krishna. Just know that you belong to Krishna. And this thing, which was the main core of our last week's class, Krishna was making me. I gave a class, but Krishna was giving me a personification of that class in the form of this Mataji. She was saying that all my life, this was my core focus, that okay, I belong to Krishna and I have to serve Krishna. All these problems will come, but I have to just tolerate. I should never criticize anyone. I should understand that Krishna is giving me, this is Krishna's mercy on me. And as she was telling, then she became very blissful. I could understand, like, seeing her, that okay, she was feeling so much internal bliss, and then she said something which is transcendental. She said, like, okay, I said, Mataji, like, you seem to be smiling, so you are, is there something coming to your mind that you want to share? Then she told that, when I was serving in New Vrindavan, this Baladev was so naughty. I said, what? This Baladev was so naughty. Okay, he would always throw these crowns away. He would always throw these dresses away. So initially, I used to try to put that same crown and dress, but he would throw it away. Okay, his expectation was he wanted a different dress, a different crown set. Now, if you get a different crown set for Baladev, and obviously you have to change Jagannath also. So every time I have to go and get all the new sets for them, and then once they are, he's fine, then he will wear that set. Otherwise, he will not take that from me only. And then as Mataji was telling, she was transcendentally smiling and laughing, like as she was saying. And then she told me another experience. She told, okay, and I said, okay, wow, Mataji, you had such wonderful experience. And what about Jagannath? Oh, Jagannath was very good actually. He was very nice. There were some incidents, like when Baladev used to be nice, there were some incidents when Jagannath used to be naughty, but those were very few. Okay. And Mataji, what about Subhadra? Subhadra was always nice. One character, one person who never gave me trouble. She was always nice. Then I said, okay, very nice, Mataji. And Madhvi, by the way, like that was in your Vrindavan, but you are now in Detroit. So did you serve the deities in Detroit? I said, yeah, once I got a chance in the during the Rath Yatra, they asked me to take Jagannath on my lap and bring. And I took that. It was a very nice experience. You know what? Everyone thought I slept off in the car with Jagannath, and they were very cautious about Jagannath, like what will happen to Jagannath. But I knew that I was not sleeping. I was really with Jagannath only all the time. I, I closed my eyes and I was with Jagannath. And as she was telling this, I was experiencing the spiritual joy that she was sharing actually. And after sharing few things, she said, okay, oh, I've never shared this with anyone. Okay, today somehow I don't know how I, because I never saw her talking only at all in the temple. She would be engaged in cleaning some places. She would do her services, and that's it. She would be out from there. Then I thought, okay, that is Jagannath's mercy on me, Srila Prabhupada. Somehow I got some nectar out of this. I told Mataji, thank you, Mataji. This is Jagannath's mercy. This is one person, this is one devotee I met. Why I said this is, see, like, okay, although this devotee went through a troubled life, but amidst all those, she was fixed up in her Krishna consciousness. Okay. How many of us really feel that, okay, we may have a troubled life and that really disturbs us in our Krishna consciousness? Oh, no one. Everyone has transcended that. Okay. At least one person is truthful. Okay. So, so thank you, Mataji. So the the thing is, for the second person that I met, he's a young devotee. So this devotee, I just happened to ask him, like, "Okay, Prabhu, where do you work?" And he told me he works for so and so place. And I said, okay, Prabhu, where is your office? He told me a place that is 2 hours from here. I said, Prabhu, you drive 2.5 hours? Uh, or is it? It must be remote work because I mostly, whenever I go to the temple, I see him there. I assume that it must be in a remote job. I said, no, no, 2 days I have to go to the work. Okay, which 2 days, Prabhu? He said, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I said, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays evening I see you here, Prabhu. So you are always in the kirtan, and he does a. Initially, he used to come here and he used to do 2 hour kirtan, 7 to 9 p.m. Then I said, okay, Prabhu, 2 hours you drive there, and 2 hours you drive back, 4 hours you drive, and then you are 7 to 9. He's jumping, and he's the one who has the maximum energy at the end of the day. So then, and then very recently, I started cooking also on Tuesdays. And our Amrita Sakha Prabhu is joining this devotee this coming Tuesday for cooking. So I told Prabhu, before that you do cooking also, then when do you go to work? Then he said, 5 o'clock I go to my work. I said, 5 o'clock you start for work. And and then Prabhu, you go home, then you come. No, no, I directly reach temple. Before cooking, I start making garlands for the deities. I make garlands, then I go for cooking. Then after cooking, I'm ready for the kirtan. I do the kirtan. And I said, okay, Prabhu. And then next day, I have work. So this time this last Tuesday when I went, then I saw after all these sevas, at night, all the deity, all those utensils were there. No one was there to wash the utensils, and he was the one who was washing the utensils. Then I said, Prabhu, tomorrow you have holiday, Prabhu? Oh, I have work. What time, Prabhu? It was already 9:30 or 10 o'clock. He has to drive back home. That is another 1 hour. Then he said, 8 o'clock, Prabhu. I said, then I was just thinking, where is this person getting this empowerment? Where is this person getting his energy? I was asking him, Prabhu, how do you get so much energy? And he said, Prabhu, when I think of the pleasure that Radha Kunjabari will get, right? Just that vision, it gives me energy. That's it. This is love, and this is devotion. This is how that person who could be spending his time in so many ways gets so much fixed up and he's just fooling himself. That This is the line that says, Prabhupada, that is the proof of Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. He's a young chap, okay, but he's fully fixed up to serve Krishna. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. If you see people who are running for material success, I mean, they will never be at peace. What to talk about liberation? I'll give you some examples for this also. Examples make it like very interesting actually. Because there was um, one person named Vijay Malia. How many of you heard his name? No one has heard his name?
Yes,
Look,
I have heard.
yeah,
Mm.
look. He was the managing director of an airlines in India, Kingfisher Airlines. So he was so rich, but then because of his further and further and further greed, right? There were some of the things, irregulatory things that he did, and then it came into the notice of the to the government authorities. And then when they were about to catch him, that person fled to a different country altogether. There was another person named, I'm just trying to remember. Um, his name was Subrato, and this was one Sharda conspiracy that happened, right? Lokoman Krishna, do you remember what was the name? Subrato Chakraborty?
I know another person who was Nirav Modi, along with Vijay Malaya. But this Subroto I have not heard.
Yeah, so he was a very, so this Sharda conspiracy was a very, it came up in the limelight. Like, okay, this person was also he was also a managing director of a company, but again, because of greed, he took up things. He did things because of which he was caught fraudulent, and then he died a life in a jail actually, in a very abominable way actually. So there are so many people. Like very recently, I was saying like, okay, there was one person who was a managing director of a bank, of a very popular bank in US. Um, and then he, because of his greed, not only did he lose his job, he was became infamous person. Like, okay, he was trying to do something like irregulatory of a very top-notch bank in the last 3 months itself. Comes from an Indian origin. So like this, we can see there are so many people. Like, okay, there was one film actor. Like, okay, a few years back, he rose to a lot of popularity, um, but then like, okay, because of attraction towards opposite sex, like, okay, he was he went he became infamous actually. So this three things in desires, Mahaprabhu says Kanak, Kamini, and Kirti. It is attraction towards wealth, opposite sex, and fame. These three things, when someone has, right, these three things constantly keep a person attached to this actually. And they cannot one cannot have this forever, because to get more and more and more and more, right, that this is unending. Even like fame, like okay, if one is not very famous, but one has to keep that social status, right? On whatever, whether it's a job or the car or the house or which location one person is, to keep that, it is so it is not going to stay there forever. So there is always a challenge. So person, like, okay, in the one who is running after that material success, and what to speak about that, like, okay, but basically, even if one is running after liberation, okay, that person can never attain peace. So we talked about this negative and positive liberation. So this liberation is like, okay, oh, I want to just get done, like, okay, with my problems. Right. So one person, if a person is always thinking about how do I end my problem, how do I end my problem, without like understanding, like, okay, what is the real process to do that. So that is what is being called about here from liberation perspective. So anyone wants to read the next part? Yes, Lokaman Krishna, go ahead.
So far we read the man who is in Krishna consciousness. Next is others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation. What to speak of material success? Never attain peace. The furtive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person is Krishna consciousness, is happy in the service of the Lord and has no desire to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotee of Krishna have no material desire and therefore they are in perfect they they are in perfect peace.
Hari bol. So this fruitive workers, does anyone know what is the meaning of fruitive workers? Fruitive workers, what is the term fruitive for? Yes, Lokaman Krishna.
Yeah, we are working to get something. That
Yeah,
is fruitive workers
yeah, one who wants to enjoy the fruit of his karma.
of the karma. Yeah.
Okay, that person is fruitive. That means they're always deal makers. If I if I get that, I will do this. Business transactional mentality. Okay, can you do this for me? I will do that for you. So that kind of thing. So many people, they go to the temple, they want to do, if you give me this, Lord, then I will do this for you. That is fruitive. The salvationist means those people who are looking for salvation or liberation. And the third category is the yogis who are after mystic powers. So no matter whatever category the person is, whether it's this, fruitive workers are also called as karma kandi. Okay. And then salvationists who are looking for liberation, they are also called as jnanis. And the third category is yogis. No matter, person could be of any three categories, but because of unfulfilled desires, they'll be unhappy. But in the service of the Lord, the person will be always happy and he has no desire to be fulfilled. So even that person does not desire even liberation from so-called material bondage. That means, like, okay, it is not that one person wants, okay, oh, please, Lord, take me back to the spiritual world. That also is not desiring. How do we know he is not desiring that? Because Mahaprabhu is teaching us. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janmanishware bhavatat bhaktir ahetukitva. I don't want kanak kamini kirti. I don't want wealth. I don't want opposite sex. I don't want fame. And what do you want? I don't even want liberation. I do not even want, like, people call me intelligent person, like, oh, come give Hari Katha, or okay, do some innovative things. No, I don't want any of those. And what do you want after all? What is your prayer? What do you want? Oh, my dear Lord, I just want to serve you birth after birth in the mood of servant of the servant of the servant. That's it. So, one who has that, who does not have any other ulterior motive while approaching Lord, right, is a genuinely pure devotee. That person can be always in peace. If one is always desiring that, okay, I did not get that, I did not get it. See, like that thing will cause anxiety within. How many of you agree with that? That thing, that pinch will be there in the heart. No matter like okay, whatever spirituality you are performing, but when we have desires, that pinch will always go, "Arey, I did not get that, I did not, Arey, I am not getting that, I am not getting that, I am not getting that. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Constant alarm will be there. So, so the devotees of Krishna have no material desires and therefore they are in perfect peace. Now, I don't want to go into the next verse and discuss that, but I want to cover one small portion of the next verse because we talked about no desire, no desire, no desire, right? Right, so far. So, question is,
Yeah.
what does this no desire mean? So, that Prabhupada explains in the next verse in the purport. Without going into the verse, we'll just pick this piece up. Lokamon Krishna, you want to read this portion which I'm highlighting?
0.71.
Yeah, Nandini Priya Mataji, you want to read?
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mataji.
To become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In or in other words, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness.
That's it. Stop
Yeah.
here. So, Prabhupada is making two statements. To become desirelessness means not to desire anything for sense gratification. That means not to desire anything for own self. But that means if we desire to do something, if we want to become Krishna conscious, or if we want to serve our Guru, if we want to serve our Krishna, that is same as becoming desirelessness. That means I am not doing anything for myself. I want to do it for Krishna and Guru. That is perfectly fine. Amrita Saga Prabhu, you want to read the next line?
Sure, bro. To understand one's actual position as the eternal servitor, servitor of Krishna, to understand one's actual position as the eternal servitor of Krishna without falsely claiming the material body to be oneself. Sorry, bro. Without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself, and without falsely claiming uh, prop- uh, proprietorship over anything in the world, is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness.
Okay, stop here. Lokamon Krishna, Prabhu, just repeat
Yeah.
this same line actually, this second and third line.
To understand one's actual position at the eternal servitor of Krishna without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself and without falsely claiming proprietorship over anything in the world is a perfect stage of Krishna consciousness.
Next line also.
One who is situated in this perfect stage knows that because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, everything must be used for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Yes.
Arjun,
No, that's it.
yeah,
So I want to let this be the takeaway from this session. So I want you to hear very attentively. Um, so once to understand one's actual position as the eternal servitor of Krishna. In our previous discussion, in our last week's discussion, those who haven't heard that, I would suggest you hear it because then we can be steady in all situation. At least if we remember that, theoretically we can be happy. Okay. There will be disturbance situations, but if we remember that, then at least we know that okay, what is our position? Our position is that okay, we are a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So to understand that our original position, our actual position as the eternal servant of Krishna. That is the real thing. Without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself, that I am, if I say I am an engineer, I am so and so, I am living in the US, but and I am, my name is Anup Ray, then then in that case, this name is only for temporary, right? This name is not permanent. Okay. Firstly, we have to understand I am not even this body. I am a spirit soul. Okay. I am not this body. So I am none of these. I am just part and parcel of Krishna. That is my permanent identity. So this Ananta Vilas Das, right? Like when there is a spiritual name given, right? Lokamohan Krishna Das, Amrita Sakha Das. This is a spiritual identity. Whose Das are you? Anant Vilas. Anant Vilas is not me. Anant Vilas is Krishna. Amrita Sakha is Krishna. Lokamohan Krishna. Lokamohan is Krishna's adjective, and then Krishna comes. One who is giving always, one who is always dear to all the people. That Krishna's Das. So if without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself and without falsely claiming proprietorship over anything in this world, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my family, okay, this is my wealth. But for how long? Is it permanent? It's not permanent. It's not permanent. So then what do we do? Oh, these are not mine. No. These are these are Krishna has given me this mother, Krishna has given me this father, Krishna has given me this wealth, Krishna has given me this, and Krishna has given me so that I can use all of whatever Krishna has given in his service. Somehow or other, there is a very beautiful prayer by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur where he says that, okay, Krishna, you have given me everything, and I'm trying to serve like the family that you have given me. This is actually your family, but and I'm just trying to do my best to serve this family that you have given me. In a different song, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, okay, Krishna, I'm completely yours, Krishna. However you want to use me, use me. Srila Prabhupada writes this in Jaladut also. So what happens because of that is like, okay, sometimes we may get hurt with some of the relations that we have. Then we understand, okay, Krishna somehow has some arrangement, like, okay, to purify me through this. Or sometimes we may not get what we need, like, okay, sometimes we may not be getting the job that we need or the life partner that we need. Then we can understand that, oh, Krishna is somehow putting me in this situation so that I get purified, because he is my ever will wisher. So one who is situated in this perfect stage knows that because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, if Krishna is the proprietor of everything, then in that case everything is happening by Krishna's direction. So, and if everything is happening by Krishna's direction, then whatever is my life situation, that is most perfect, because Krishna is, I'm Krishna's servant, and this is whatever I'm getting now is Krishna's best arrangement for me. And after thinking like that, that person takes to the thing that, okay, everything must be used for the satisfaction of Krishna. I have to use each and everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. And then I will take one example and stop with that. One of the examples that we can understand that who is using everything for the satisfaction of Krishna is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. He is so exemplary, his body is not working. He does not have a bank account. He does not have, practically his entire body is non-functional, but he wants to give himself to everyone to serve whatever he has. So his speech through his Vani, whatever he has heard from Srila Prabhupada, he is giving that. whatever in his heart, he is distributing Krishna by to millions of people. Okay, we may see only, oh no, no, there may only 10,000, 1 lakh maybe are there, or 2 lakh, 5 lakh. But the seeds that he has sown is to millions. Like I am seeing like in the last few years when he visited here in 2013, Detroit. So the families who came to visit him at that time, like some of the Matajis were pregnant. They were not favorable in Krishna consciousness. They just came because there is His Holiness Jayaprakash Swami Guru Maharaj has come. But their children are now favorable. Those families are slowly becoming favorable because a glance of a Mahabhagavat has fallen on them. So, what kind of fortune we are living in when we are directly associated with such a great devotee, when we have Srila Prabhupada's direct descendants in our life? That is our greatest takeaway. So, we should always and always feel so much fortunate, like, okay, that we are receiving so much. And then we should think about, in my situation, how can I give? What is it that I can give in my situation? So I shared something like, okay, in this respect, I'll stop here. But in this respect, um, I shared something like, okay, in the group today, where His Grace Gaurang Prabhu was sharing what kind of troubles that Srila Prabhupada went through to give us Krishna consciousness. So 50 years of so much intense struggle that he did. And now if you see in today's day, when we go to the temple, we get the prasadam plate. Forget about being free, but prasadam was not even available to Shripad Narad Muni. It was not available to Lord Shiva himself. It was not available to Mother Parvati. That prasad is now available to us no matter where we are. We have so many temples. We are getting darshan of Shishi, most merciful Shishi Radha Kunj Bihari. The last deity installed by Srila Prabhupada is Shishi Gaurnita in Detroit. Some of the devotees are in India, like, okay, they are getting darshan of Nandini Priya Mataji. You are in Hyderabad, right, Mataji?
Prabhuji, Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. Okay. In Tamil Nadu, see, there are so many places that Mahaprabhu visited in Tamil Nadu. But we would have never known any of this if uh, uh, Srila Prabhupada would have not translated that Chaitanya Charitamrita. All these books that we have, scriptural books, these are eye openers. I mean, s- there is so much transformation of heart happening, like, okay, across the globe, like, okay, of people who are completely lost because none of the things that we get in this material world, right? Like, okay, they will give us more money, they will give us more bank balance, these all these things will happen, but none of these things will give something that will really soothe the heart. If you be in kirtan for 15 minutes, I mean, I met so many people. Amrita Sakha Prabhu knows, like, okay, many times, like, in the temple when kirtan is happening, we'll ask them to come and dance, and many will be saying, no, no, I'll not come. Then once they'll come and sit, once if we pull and bring them for dance, they will not leave also. They'll keep dancing for the next half an hour. So that cannot happen because as soon as they connect with the Supreme Father, right, Krishna is all attractive. His dancing is also all attractive because and they'll be singing, dancing. People, I've seen so many people who are so introvert when they start dancing, right after that, like, you can't even recognize this person was that person, that previous guy. Amrita Saka Prabhu, can you relate yourself also, Prabhu? Amrita Saka Prabhu never talked to anyone actually. Nandini Priya Mataji, can you relate yourself, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
right? 100%. Because it changes Krishna. I mean, once Krishna enters, right, he does the transformation. So we should take this as we should take this and we should make the best use of this. I will conclude with a short passage that I have from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So let me share my the screen. One part I thought like this will really be helpful. It is on the same lines as we discussed today. So Srila Prabhupada asked this question. So now in this material world, we are always becoming contaminated, right? And our heart is contaminated. How can we remain unpolluted by material contamination while we stay in this material world? Because we'll see our mind is always bogged with like, okay, I want to do this, that, like, okay. When we are chanting, also so many things comes in mind. How do we remain uncontaminated with in this material world? So Srila Rupa Goswami explains that we can remain uncontaminated while in the world if we simply make it our ambition to serve Krishna. If our ambition is only to serve Krishna, right, then we can remain uncontaminated. One may then justifiably ask, how can I serve? It is not simply a matter of meditation, which is just an activity of the mind, but of performing practical work for Krishna. So, what practical work can we do? In such work, we should leave no resource unused. Whatever we have, right? We should use all our resources that we have. Whatever is there, whatever we have, we should be used for Krishna. We should use everything. If we have wealth, we should use that. If someone has typewriter, automobile, airplane, missile, we should use everything for Krishna's service. If we simply speak to people about Krishna consciousness, we are also rendering service. So if we think that, okay, oh, today I heard this thing, this is nice in the class, let me speak about this to five other people. That is a service. We are just we are just spreading the nice thing that we have heard. If our mind, senses, speech, money, energy are thus engaged in the service of Krishna, what? Mind, senses, speech, money, all our energies, they are thus engaged in the service of the Krishna. I was talking about that devotee, right, who does so many services in the temple after doing 4 hours of journey to and fro work. Then we are no longer in this material nature. That devotee, both the devotees example I told you, they were not in the material nature. Like they are completely in bliss. So, by virtue of spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, we transcend the platform of material nature. I want to genuinely ask how many of us really, really want to transcend that platform of material nature? Do we have a genuine desire? Yes. Then let us make it our utmost desire that, okay, I really want to give it the best. It is a fact that Krishna, his expansions, and his devotees, that is, those who work for him, are not in material nature. Although people with poor fund of knowledge think they are. This is a very powerful, very bold statement that Srila Prabhupada is saying. Let me read this out to you. It is a fact that Krishna, his expansions, and his devotees, that is, those who work for Krishna, okay, those who think that, okay, I am doing my work for Krishna, this work that I'm doing it for Krishna, that person is not in the material nature. Although others may think that, okay, अरे ये क्या कर रहा है? What is this person doing? अरे same thing only as I'm doing. He is also cooking. I am also cooking. But that person is cooking for Krishna. You are cooking for your own enjoyment. So Prabhupada is saying that person is not in the material nature. Just to relate to it, I want to take you back to that prisoner that I was telling about. It is about that prisoner who told the king that please free me. But and the king told the jailer to observe him. And now he is executing his good behavior. Very soon he will be released. Not only will he be released, but when the king is pleased, king will say, okay, bring him to my palace. I want him as my servant. He's such a wonderful gem. So we have such an amazing opportunity. Um, I, if you allow me, then I have a one last thing that I have from Bhagavatam. I forgot about that actually, or maybe I can end it here actually. Um, but this is very nice actually. Okay, so we all have that opportunity. Actually, let me cover this part because this will really give us so much joy. So as I was thinking through this, what would be our roadmap actually when we take to this Krishna consciousness? What happens? Srila Prabhupada is saying this is from Bhagavatam, first canto, fifth chapter, 39. There is a reference in the same context. See, communion with the Lord, that is relationship with the Lord. Anyone wants to read? They can read this part actually. Okay, I can read that. Okay, or anyone, Nandini Priya Mataji or Lokaman Krishna Prabhu, Kohli Mataji, anyone wants to read? Kohli Mataji, you want to read? Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Then Pranam.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, yes, yes.
Reference from ASP 1.5.39. Communion with the Lord by transmission of the transcendental sound is non-different from the whole spirit Lord Krishna. It is a completely perfect method of approaching the Lord. By such pure contact with the Lord, without offense of material conceptions, numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of Vedic literatures, including the Lord's extenses in the transcendental realm.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. I will just explain what Srila Prabhupada is saying in very simple language. What Srila Prabhupada is saying is when we do our chanting of the japa, right, then we are in relation with the Lord. We are, it is a transcendental sound vibration which is non-different from Krishna being present. Okay. When we are attentively trying to hear that, right, then what happens is it is a completely perfect method of approaching the Lord. I want to tell you what happens when one chants nicely. Because I want to tell you so that okay, if we remember this, right, we should have a we all are like a Kali Yuga persons. If we have a goal right in front of us, right, then it gives us a better enthusiasm to run for it. So by making a pure contact with the Lord, that means chanting without offenses. Numbering 10 means there are 10 offenses to the holy name. So if we don't commit any of those 10 offenses, then what will happen is the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures. Whatever we are reading, right, we will not just have knowledge, but we will also have realization, including the Lord's existence in the transcendental realm, that we will understand, okay, Lord is located. See, right now we know that the Lord is located in Golok Vrindavan. But that time we will get realization of, okay, how does Krishna look? Ah, this is how Krishna looks in the spiritual world. This is how he performs. That pastime which we are hearing, right? That same pastime will start occurring in our heart as well. Whatever we are hearing, we will be able to experience that in our heart. It is a divine thing. So the Lord reveals, and there is a three-stage method that is given. One who chants nicely, what happens? First stage, the Lord reveals his identity gradually to one who has unflinching faith both in the spiritual master and in the Lord. So if one has unflinching faith, if scriptures is saying that okay, tolerate, then I will tolerate. Okay. If scripture is saying do this, then I'll do that. And if my guru has told me to do this, I will do that. Then if one who has unflinching faith on the spiritual master and the Lord reveals his identity gradually. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tatheva bhajamyam. As you approach me, I reciprocate it accordingly. The second stage, in the second stage, the devotee is endowed with mystic opulences, which are eight in number. That means the devotee gets 8 mystic opulences also. And in the third stage, and above all, the devotee is accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord. That means the devotee is always becomes also becomes in the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of the spiritual master. So the spiritual master gives the devotee specific services, and the devotee is accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord. Over here, when the devotee takes initiation, at that time the devotee is always in that shelter. But when being in that shelter, when the devotee starts to accept the instructions of the guru and sincerely tries to follow it without any ulterior motive, he becomes sincere, serious, and without ulterior motives. Then in that case, the Lord's identity becomes revealed. The devotee becomes so confidential. His position, like, okay, in the spiritual world is really revealed. His service in the spiritual world is also revealed. As he's serving sincerely, slowly all this gradually happens. And a pure devotee is more interested in serving the Lord than in showing an exhibition of the mystic powers dormant in him. So that means the second stage was he gets mystic power, right? So a pure devotee never displays his mystic powers. The pure devotee is never interested in the mystic power also, and he never displays that. There is a particular pastime I want to share in this regard. When Radha Londoneshwar was being installed in London, okay, in Bhaktivedanta manner, it was a there were reporters who came, and all these new devotees, Sham Sundar Prabhu was there and other devotees, they were there, Yamuna Mataji was there. They had put, like, based on Srila Prabhupada's instructions, they had put, like, okay, multiple pillars actually that were out there, and the fire sacrifice was happening, and the reporters were standing outside, and there was a curtain. As soon as the curtain was about to open, at that time, like, okay, the curtain will now open, and for Radha Landaneshwar, the fire sacrifice was being done, and Srila Prabhupada was about to get up and happen, and somehow it so happened at the last moment, as the curtains are just about to open, at that time, one pillar suddenly, I do not remember how that happened, but it just fell off from there, and it was just coming and falling on Radha Langaneshwar. So if the pillar falls, that heavy pillar, if that falls, right, it will fall on Radha Langaneshwar. It will crush the Radha Langaneshwar deity. Srila Prabhupada, he was almost 75. In that one moment, Srila Prabhupada jumped more faster than any sportsman, and with one hand he caught hold of the pillar, and all the devotees, they were struck because no one could go that fast. They could see all the pillar is falling. What to do? And Srila Prabhupada caught this with one hand actually. And then few devotees came to lift this pillar up, and okay, when the curtains finally opened, when the reporters saw, they saw that they were carrying a long pillar from there. They thought maybe it is also part of the deity installation. They could not understand what has transpired in the short time. But Her Grace Yamuna Mataji says that, okay, with the kind of chivalry that Srila Prabhupada displayed in such a short time, right? It was in fraction of seconds that Srila Prabhupada caught this pillar. And with one hand that he caught, right? It was unimaginable that an old man of 75 was catching that thing which young people were not able to catch. That is Srila Prabhupada. This is just almost nothing. Like, there are so many incidents like that. Like, Srila Prabhupada walked on Bhaktivedanta manner, and Yamuna Mataji was right behind her. She could not see. She saw that her footprints were there on the grass, but Srila Prabhupada had no footprints. She asked Srila Prabhupada, I don't see footprints like of yours. Then Srila Prabhupada smiled. Srila Prabhupada, what is your position in the spiritual world? She asked. Srila Prabhupada said, if I tell you, you will faint here. Hare Krishna. That is our Srila Prabhupada. He never wanted to take any of these, like, okay, never wanted to take, um, get popularity because of all these things. So this is a a very beautiful thing. After that, like when I read this, I just thought of sharing this with all of you. And then last line, uh, I will read this. Sri Narad Muni. This was from the chapter of Narad Muni where he is instructing to Vyasdev. But here it says Sri Narad Muni has explained all this from his personal experience. This is whatever I was reading. This last portion, this is Sripad Narad Muni is telling of his personal experience, and one can obtain all these facilities which Sri Narad Muni obtained by perfecting the chanting process of the sound representation of the Lord. That means whatever perfection Narad Muni obtained, that perfection Srila Prabhupada is saying we all can obtain. How? By by the chant by the chanting process, by perfecting the chanting process. The process of perfecting the chanting process is our endeavor. There is no bar for chanting this transcendental sound by anyone, provided it is received through Narad Muni's, Sripad Narad Muni's representative. That means through our bona fide Guru Parampara, coming down by a chain of disciplic succession or the Parampara system. So for those of you who are here, like I know you are all in sheltered, but for those of you who will be watching this video later, if you are not sheltered, if you are not there on the Parampara, if you have not aspired for a guru, we have to make it quickly. We really want to achieve this. We really want to go back to the spiritual world. We really want to be a servant of the servant of the servant and serve Krishna. Like, okay, at least whatever we have missed out, we have missed out. But let's try to get the GPS set up quickly. Thank you all very much. With that, I'll conclude here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हरे कृष्णा does anyone have any questions or any comments? I am extremely sorry it is about 20 minutes off, but I thought okay, I somehow felt okay, this was nice, it may be inspiring. Uh, Sometimes, in order to present, because of my uh, inabilities to do it quickly, it takes a longer time. Let me put it that way. Hare Krishna. So, any question or comments anyone has, or else we can conclude it here. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranam.
Dhanavad
Thank
pranam.
you so much for this precious class, Prabhu. I'm really mesmerized by this lecture, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a request. Can I join this class every Saturday? I think it happens every Saturday. So can I join this class?
Yes, you can join. Yes, no problem.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Lokoman Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand one thing clearly, that we tell that everything what happens with the permission of Krishna, nothing can happen without his permission. Now, suppose someone is doing some harm to anybody, someone is ruining someone or murdering someone, is it with the Krishna's permission?
So here is the thing. It goes back to the point that we have all been given free will. All the jivas, they have been given free will, correct?
Yeah.
So because and why does a jiva, like we Krishna has told that, like surrender unto me sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tom sarva papebhyo moksheshami masucha. Surrender unto me, I will take care of your past sinful reactions. Do not fear, right? Surrender only to me. So if you think, oh, why these people are there in the material world? You can all surrender. And why Krishna has to tell this? Anyway, you can do, oh, come on, surrender. 1 second he can do all right. He can take them back to spiritual world. But the thing is, we are in a jail. This material world is a jail. And the beautiful part of this jail is like, okay, see, the jail may have many troubles, but the most beautiful part of this jail is like Krishna is not forcing anyone. Everyone has their free will, and depending upon how abominable one is, the free will could be less or could be more. Okay, think about it. In the jail, if there is a hardcore criminal, okay, who has done like okay, several murders and like whatnot, like, okay, they'll be kept in a dark room, or maybe always their hands and legs, feet will be tied up, right? Similarly, okay, if one has done any, um, maybe they have done a little lesser level of crime, like okay, maybe they have looted some money, or maybe they have not killed anyone, but they have done all these civil crimes, like okay, they may be in a lesser punishable position, and someone may have done may have not been proved guilty, but is may have done something lower than that, may have violated traffic rules, so they are kept under absolute watch, or their driver's license may be violated. They are also doing crime, they are also doing something which is uh, against the government rules, but they are being subjected to lesser scrutiny, let's put it that way. So similarly, um, in Krishna's, all this Krishna, not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's permission, but it is all working in the by the laws of nature. And so in the laws of nature, everyone has a free will, okay, especially in the human form of body. Once one gets into the animal form of body, then they are run by instincts. But in the human form, they have free will. Okay, I want to do this good thing, I want to do this bad thing, I want to do this Krishna conscious thing. They have that free will. And by taking that will, what is happening is they are creating their next karma, their next body, right, based on whatever activity that they're doing. So if someone is doing something abominable, as per the laws of nature, their next reactions are getting ready for that. So I hope that answers your question,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Actually, in Bhagavad Gita also, in many places, Krishna had told that he has told this thing should be done, should be done. Then he is telling, this is my opinion. That means he is explaining everything, what you do and what you don't do, and what is the result of doing this and what is the result of not doing this. But he is giving the independence option to us, what to take it and what not to take it.
Yeah, if you see in the 18th chapter, Krishna asks Arjuna after giving all this knowledge. So first he gives all the knowledge, and it's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjun that is happening. Arjun is constantly asking questions. Krishna is explaining again. Arjun is asking questions. Arjun is telling what he cannot do. All that is happening, and then it goes into and then once he reveals his universal form, then he tells about this like, okay, all the three modes of material nature, everything, and goes into the 18th chapter, right? Then Krishna asks like Arjun, now what do you think? What will you do after hearing this? Then Arjun says, Karishya Vachanam Tvam. I will do whatever you have said, Krishna. I accept completely whatever you've said. So one has that option, like, okay, one can take to that process, or one can say, okay, no, I have heard everything, but I will not do it. And that is why, if you see the last passage that I was reading, one who has that firm conviction that I will follow what Krishna has said, to that person, Krishna will reveal himself.
It is Saranagati,
That is
surrendering to Krishna.
that is surrendering to Krishna. Once one person, and the easiest way of surrendering is one who takes to the chanting of the holy name. One who is, we may have difficulty in doing things, but when we go back and have a dialogue, when we go back and tell to our Guru Varga, when we go and tell this to Mahaprabhu, when we have that that Sharanagati towards the immediate representative that Krishna has sent in our life, It may be through the Guru Varga, the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. To that person, when we have that Sharanagati, right? Then through that, that person may not be any famous or any big person. But when we have Sharanagati towards that person, then in that case, Krishna orchestrates what is needed for us through that person. If Dinpan Gorang Prabhu once gave me a very nice example, he said, okay, uh, he, I mean, he was telling that, okay, see, there are so many famous devotees, right, that we know of. Okay, so he gave some name. I'll not tell those names because who knows those famous personalities. So he told, okay, see, think about these devotees, like, okay, who are there? Do you know who their Siksha Guru is? I said, no, Prabhu. He said, think about it. Like there are, and some of these devotees have told about their Siksha Guru. We have never heard of their names actually. They told about their Siksha Guru in the class, but we have never heard about their name. They are not that famous as the Siksha disciple is. But now this exalted devotee who is so much exalted, like, okay, they are following their Siksha Guru as to whatever there is being said. Okay, it does not really matter. Like, okay, one who has taken this process up, right, one who has complete faith that, okay, this person is going to reveal Krishna to me. That's it. If he says Krishna is on left, and I can see Krishna is on right. If he takes right, then they will not get Krishna will go somewhere else. If he takes left, then Krishna will see from there, oh, he followed that, he will come here. That's it. I hope that answers, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone, for your time and for your divine association. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.